Hello everyone, welcome back to Football Manager 2020. Today is a pretty big day for our season since we have our final match against Supersport coming up in the African Confederation Cup. They beat us last time we played, so we've got a point to prove, and they're probably going to be tougher this time because I find cup finals, it feels like the opponents get a boost. I don't know if they actually do or if they just play harder, but their stats are actually the same. But either way, beating people in the finals tends to be difficult. And then we get a little bit of an anticlimactic finish as I take on Tuks afterwards to keep the two matches recording session going. But we're just going to head into it and see how things go. It's going to be a potentially interesting matchups because there is some players available on or away on international duty starting today. It doesn't really affect us. The only player we're losing is Lungu, who isn't a first team player anyway. But I don't know if it's going to have more of an impact on Supersport. I would hope not, given that they have a very important match coming up that they didn't let their key players go, but never know. Oops, hit the wrong button on that. I wanted to finish looking at the hot stats from our match against Maritzburg last recording session, which just make it more surprising that we were able to dominate them as easily as we did, because we played well, but not too much above our normal performances. So I don't know why we were able to batter them so decisively. Maybe they were having a really off game. I didn't really look at their stats. I tend to ignore the opposition stats because the only way to really read how they're performing is to pause the game and dig through those menus, which doesn't make for a good recording session. We're making some pretty extensive changes to our defensive line heading into this cup tie, which I'm not the most excited about. I hope I can switch some of these people back closer because it is just a result of the attrition the team's been under with the very heavy schedule. Everyone is pretty good. Like, our weak points are Mattia, who's gained half a star on where he started the season, and Fountain, who's less of an issue because he's paired with Margeman. But since they line up, this section could be vulnerable. Game thinks it's pretty solid. Like, the game's happy with our lineup. I'm a little worried that these two are going to cause some problems in the match, but we're going to see closer to the game time if I can take Mattia back out and get someone else in there. It might just be necessary with the fatigue and the fact that we need to send these people up to Mali for the final and then come back in like 2 or 3 days. And we're having some major suspension. Oh, that's why. Sinago's suspended. Yeah, we are going to have to use Mattia. Forgot that happened. But yeah, we are having some pretty serious selection issues. Although part of that's just a product of us having a very large squad. Like, a lot of those people are just people that we never registered for the cup team because we're limited on the number of people we can take still. Having to play Mattia is really not my favorite thing to do. And I'm actually going to have to take him out of the under 19 squad. They can have Saket Long because he's unavailable or unregistered anyway. But I'm desperately going to need Mattia in my squad, so I can't let the under-19s take him. I'm going to put a lot of pressure on these guys. Some people struggled with the pressure, but they're all people I don't intend on playing. And yeah, it had pretty good impacts on morale. We very slightly lowered the morale on the people that thought I was putting too much pressure on, and everyone else got a boost. It's going to be an interesting match because we're playing it on a neutral pitch, and so I have no idea what sort of pitch conditions we're in for in this match. And yeah, he looks pretty good. He's not going to sign with me, but he looks pretty good. I'm going to try for it. Seppi, good signing. Actually South African, that's a huge factor. I would really like to land this guy. None of these foreign players have any chance of coming in and playing for us, but I'm setting them as transfer targets because if I land them, I could potentially use them. And the most important thing is it'll keep the board busy pursuing them because the board's going to pursue people no matter what. And so if I can keep the board busy pursuing them, they're not going to start sending contracts to guys who are like 32 rated players or so just because without guidance they'll just start sending contracts out willy-nilly, and I'd rather have them focused on players we cannot possibly sign when we don't have any money than have them sending out contracts to players we can afford but are terrible. And so it's really just damage mitigation. I could stop delegating sending out contracts to the board, but I really don't like managing that part. And when we have money, it's usually nice to have them just hire me players, and then I don't have to worry about doing anything. And so I'm just going to kind of try to point them in directions where they can't do much damage. Quickway is so streaky. I constantly he'll play bad and I need to yell at him, and then he'll play good, and then he'll be upset that I told him he played good even though he got an 8.5 rated game. That guy's tough to manage when he's on loan. Fortunately, next season he's probably going to be in the main squad, so I'm not going to have to deal with that. Traore's close to coming back, so it'll be nice to have a second striker available going into the closing streak of the season. However, he's not going to help us at all today. He's not able to pass a fitness test yet. Oh, bit of bad luck. We're just over the threshold for dangerously hot. But the pitch is in good condition, and it's breezy, which might actually benefit us. I'm going to go attacking here. I think we can put pressure on them. No change. Oh, I forgot we did have Tau in the squad. It's probably not ideal that I stressed him out, but yeah, stressing him out actually knocked him down to 2.5 stars from 3, so that's not fantastic, but because morale does play in how they're going to perform on the day, but we're going to have to make do with it because that's another point where our team is so stretched now that Lamini got snapped up by the Saudis. We're going to have to play weaker players there because I don't have anyone better to put in. Hopefully Supersport are in a similar situation to us. Oh, nice big pitch. This is good. I was worried we were going to be on one of those little tiny cramped ones that we were playing our semifinals, quarterfinals on when we were away. Because our wing play really needs space. Although perhaps with the weaker defense I had to bring today, the narrower pitch would have been nicer. But I still think giving our wings space to run is going to be more important in the long run. That was not the best looking goaltending from Nedlovo, which has me a little worried. This is not the time for him to have an off game. Fortunately, we were able to manage things through the semifinals enough to be able to put Walker and Williams in today, so that wing is going to be our strong suit. I'm going to predict that this is probably going to go to a penalty shootout. I'm going to say probably 0-0 going into a penalty shootout, which is not ideal because I don't have the most time for recording today. I'm kind of trying to cram this in amongst holiday activities. So I'm hoping we can just win this in regulation. And I don't end up having like a 50-minute match here and then still have to get into Tuks match. And we are nicely putting pressure on them. Fountain got a little timid there, which wasn't great, but we knew Fountain was going to be one of our weaker points. Still, the majority of the highlights, we've been in control. I think we are the better team here. Like, they beat us last time, but it was kind of an upset, so they're dangerous, but I think we are the better team, although we're making some pretty big defensive mistakes against Brown there. And Zulu got a goal. Looked like we were a little asleep there. It's not the end of the world. We can come back from one down. But everyone was just kind of shocked when it went through those two players and Zulu got it. No one tried to close him down at all. If we can close the half 1-1, I'm going to be very happy, though. We can try to win it late, but I'd like to erase this deficit. Okay, we're out to Walker. Walker's good at... They're on to Walker being a good wing player, though. They're breaking that up, but I'm not really able to make much happen. It's going to suck if we stay down for a long time because of that somewhat fluky goal. Because really, that should have never gotten to Zulu. And once it did, it's just our weaker defense was a little bit shocked and didn't know what to do, but we're fully back on attack. Kind of feels like they're parking the bus here. Like, they've gone up one goal. They're just going to try to hold on to that lead. And unfortunately, we're not great against that strategy. They have a good goaltender. But we really are controlling the match a lot more than the score would indicate. So I still feel fairly confident that we can win this. I think the game heard me saying that I don't have much time today, and it's just, alright, no highlights. We're going to get through this quick. We might have a penalty here. We do. Who's taking it? Walker, okay. There we go. I got that equalizing goal in the first half I wanted. So we're back level. Nothing that happened really matters here. And now it's just a matter of can we force one through when they get tired. This is a massive pitch. So they can get... So stamina is going to be an issue. It's disgustingly hot weather. And our team is battered and has had a heavy schedule, so it's not ideal, but we do seem to be able to score late. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. That's actually another reason I'm worried about going to extra time here, is just the effect it's going to have on our team. We're running out of reserves, and 3 days is not a lot of time to recover from a very long, very hot game on a very big pitch. 4,000 kilometers away from where you normally play. Because Mali's, if I remember the map correctly, which I very well might not, African geography is far from my strong suit, but I believe Mali's fairly far north in Africa, so we're pretty much on the other end of the second largest continent on Earth from where we normally play. I know I was saying last session how I wasn't looking forward to going to Mali in end of May to play a football match, but here we are. We're handling the heat better than I was worried we would. Like, our team's not tiring that badly. We came in with a lot of people who weren't 100% fresh into this match, and no one's complaining that they're too tired yet. And we're coming up on me making subs in a couple minutes here, so things are going pretty good, although the ref's overlooking at the VAR, which has me really worried that perhaps they've just drawn a penalty. In fact, they have, because we don't get the ref going to VAR to not give a penalty. For some reason, this game never does that. At least we didn't get a card. But if we go down here, which we almost certainly will, because penalties are very hard to defend against, it could be game over for us. Especially because it feels like Nidlov is not having the best game here. Even if he was, I mean, he would have been beat by that penalty. He dove for it. He tried. But yeah, he's only having a 6.7 rated game, which for him is not ideal. Yeah, we are really flat in this game. A lot of 6.5, 6.6s. Tao's struggling and is fairly tired, so I'm going to take him off and put Matenjwa in. I think Matenjwa's the better player at this position, but neither one of the players I have available is very good. Yeah, he's only going to be low rated. That's rough, but I think Nick Saleh is also just low rated. I'm just extremely depleted at center forward. The boost I was worried about from Supersport doesn't seem to have happened, though, which is nice. Like, they feel beatable today, and a lot of times in the final, your opponent does not feel beatable. Our struggles to actually beat them are on us. Like, we're not playing great today. It's not that the game has made them unbeatable. They're playing like I expect Supersport to play, and we're not playing like I expect Amazulu to play. Although Walker's got it in a good position here. And equalized again, assisted by Fountain. We are making a match of it, even though we're not playing that well. And I suppose the flat performance, I shouldn't be too shocked about. We've been having a very heavy schedule. It's a long trip to get to Mali. And it's very hot. The rain's, even though the rain wasn't forecast, it's probably actually helping a lot because it's cooling the guys off a bit. Oh yeah, now the team's woken up. We've got way better stats than we had 10 minutes ago, although Makwakwina is still looking disappointing, so I think I'm going to put in the Shangassi and see if we can't steal a win in the close. He's not better than Makwakwina by a lot. In fact, he's fairly substantially worse. But fresh legs in the final 20 minutes of the match might just steal us an extra goal. And I think that'll count more than a disappointing performance from a better striker. Because we do need to do something to win this. Because once we get to, and that might be the something, Matenjwa immediately scores his third goal of the season. Because, yeah, if we go to penalty shootout, it's random chance. At that point, I can do nothing to improve the match. Looked like Walker got tripped there. That could have been a cardable offense, but this ref is letting us play pretty good. Now let's see if we can hold it out for the last 10 minutes, because we might actually win this. It's turned into a good match. Yeah, everyone's playing well. Margeman's starting to look pretty tired and isn't having the best game of his life. Do I have anyone to put in? Got a lot of people that can play in that position. I'll put in Safema. Yeah, I'm going to take him right up to an attacker. He's fantastic as an attacking player. And if we can steal a second goal, this is over. Mattia actually coming through at the big save after I was worried about him. I don't love how tired Walker's looking at this point. I didn't want to take him off because he's one of the best players we've got on the pitch right now. And like I said, I really want to get that second goal to just close this out and not have any extra time. But I might not have Walker available against Tuks, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. Tuks aren't that dangerous. I've already pretty much expected that we're going to win that match, no matter who I bring. It looks like Supersport are really tired too. They're not pressing the way they were earlier in the match. Not nearly as pressured on the ball. There, they had a chance to take the ball and counterattack and just kicked it out for a corner, no less, instead of even trying. So their team is hurting. And we only need to hold for another 2.5 minutes. I think I made the right choice keeping Walker in. That was a good win for us. We had to scratch and claw to get it, but going down twice, but we pulled it off. Yeah, even the press thought we were going to penalties. And that was Nidlovo's 50th appearance for us. So that was a huge win. And Margeman got to lift the cup, which is good because he's one of our oldest players. He's been with us since I started. He's only 27. He must have been really young when he started. I've had him retire by this point in an save I had to abandon because it got corrupted, so I had to go back to the season start. But he ended up retiring like 2 years ago in an alternate reality. And that's huge. We got $1.6 million, which we desperately needed. We won it last year, too. That was the only reason they even gave me a chance to save my job. They expected me to reach the final, so I don't get a huge boost that I actually won the final, because everything up to this match was just a given, but you can see South Africa has just absolutely dominated this tournament. Not surprising, Walker was the best player we had on the pitch. He's become a 4-star player. Give everyone a bonus. And our scouts noticed that Zulu was good. Not surprising given that he scored on us. Now we have that very compressed rest time to get back to South Africa and get people rested before we go into the Tuks match. So I'm very happy that we didn't have overtime or extra time in that match. I think I'm just getting this because the game assumes I'm going to want to go back to North America and coach. Because I'm not remotely associated with the MLS. So I don't know what. I mean, I get updates on TFC because in real life they're my club. But well, one of my clubs, them and United. But I've never been affiliated with the MLS in any level, so I assume they're just giving me those updates on coach firings because games like he might want to move back to North America. Walker set a record for goals. Oh, that's good. Lungu's actually getting used in the international tournament. It's always annoying when they take one of your players and then they don't actually use them. Especially in a situation like this where I have matches while the player's away. Oh, the board's starting to give us money. So we've gotten basically $3 million this month, which will really help keep the club solvent. It's going to be another busy couple of weeks. Like, we got 2 games this week, 2 games next week. It's going to be a push right into the end of the season. We got Sinago back, which is nice. We can put Mirasavic in. Don't love Saketlang and Mitenjwa on the wings, but given what we just put our wingers through, we're probably going to have to make do with that for this match and just hope that Tau can force something in up the center. I'm alright with bringing a weaker team in this case and just might even fall to Sefema back here as an attacker to try to actually score our goals for this match. I mean, Mitenj was not horrendous as a winger, but Mirsavic's not great. Senamila's not great. Couple really good players here. Margeman gained a star, I noticed. Saketlong's pretty terrible. Tau's not great. Mitenj was actually our best winger. He's alright. He's better than I thought he was. He must have gained a star since the last time I've actually played him in that position. But yeah, we're fully expected to just bully Tuks. So I'm pretty alright with bringing a weak team. Golden Arrows is another squad that's not super dangerous, so it's a good opportunity for us to rest some players for the final matches that are really going to matter. Chikwekwe got a player of the match performance. That's nice to see. We know Williams and Walker work great together. It's just too bad that I probably won't be able to keep them because of international player restrictions and how expensive they are. The Tuks coach is admitting that we did good in the cup final. I'm not going to let it pop me. Oh, no. That's potentially devastating. I'm not going to try to give him injections and coax him through it. It's Tuks, Golden Arrows, Ploquine next. So it's not devastating. We made it through the cup final before he got himself hurt, but not having Nedlevo to close out the season sucks. Anyone else I can boost up? Yes. Fountain's actually been playing shockingly well for us, given that he's not a great player. We brought in Kazin for our World Cup squad, who's not ever been capped as a senior before. Borges is back from injury. Atakubi's back from injury. No big news on people we kicked out. Well, James is getting long in the tooth. I like him as a player, but he's 32. He's not been having great performances for his club. Like, he's on the fringes of Midtjylland. I've heard that name said and I still can't say it. They consider Laren a surprise inclusion. That's surprising because he's pretty solid. Like, I don't think he's been developing in the game as well as he has in real life. But none of these players they brought in are really that big a shock. I suppose it's because I haven't had Laren in the last 10 times I've named a team, because he's been struggling for his club, but he's a good player. And he keeps getting hurt. Oh, this is devastating. Immediately after I named the clubs, Estacio gets himself hurt. And he's one of our star players, and he'll be out for the World Cup. But on the club side, Traore's almost back. He's still limited to 60 minutes. But that means we have a backup striker now. I'm going to put February in for Ndlovu. February's pretty solid as a goalkeeper. The game actually thinks he's better than Ndlovu. And it's mostly just been inertia that's been keeping Ndlovu having his position. I disagree. I think Ndlovu's a better player than February. But at least we still got a very good goaltender to put in here. And it's good to be home, even though our field is starting to look pretty battered. Immediately through to Makwakwina, who doesn't have the best finish on that. But the fact that we're just slicing through their defenses like this with the team we brought to this match, which is far from the team I'd want to play in an actually important match, just shows the skill gap between our two sides. Like, they're doing good on disrupting our finishing, but they've done nothing that establishes them as a threat. It's just our finishing holding us back, which we knew was going to be a problem when we exhausted our wingers in the cup tie, but we had to do that. It's nice that February's getting a fairly easy match to ease himself back into nets. He's been playing a lot for the reserves, so he's match sharp, but it's a different beast to be out in the first team. We need to force something through, though. If we draw this match because I couldn't bring a good striker to the field, I'm going to be very upset. Striking has been our Achilles heel this entire save. And we largely got it on track, but then right now we're back to the caliber of strikers I've normally brought, where we'd win a lot of games, but it was because we were just bombarding the net with shots rather than that any of our shots were that accurate. Because if you shoot on the net about 30 times a game, at least one's going to go in. February showing up when it counts. That was a clean breakaway, and he saved it very nicely. Tao might have just done something very stupid. Got away with it, though. Looked like a tackle from behind of the sort that would potentially get him red carded, but this is another case of the ref just letting things go. There's been one yellow card handed out in this match. And we're almost halfway through it, so it's pretty lax ref, which is good. I like that much more. I don't terribly enjoy the type of matches where every 2 seconds it's whistled down and someone's given a card. I've had matches where like both teams leave the match with like 6 yellow cards and they're just miserable. Miserable to play, miserable to watch. Maluki actually snuck one through. And this is why we show all the matches. Oh my god, our pitch is looking terrible. But, yeah, this is just the result of a tired, battered team and unfamiliar goaltender. And hungry opponents. A lot of these guys are not, like, we're not getting the fast, accurate passes we're used to seeing with the club because a lot of these guys are not used to playing together. Or at least in the positions they're in. Like, Matenjwa gets played a fair bit, but not on the wing. On the wing usually. Sinago got himself another yellow card. The guy needs to settle things down. And I mean, I can't be too upset. This is a thing that happens a lot in real football, where there's a big cup win, and in the next league match, the team just comes out completely flat because they had the huge adrenaline dump of doing so well in the league and celebrating that, and all of a sudden they're just playing some nothing game against a weaker team. And it's very hard to get yourself up for that after the big deal that you just went through. Matenjwa seems to be one of the only players that's actually outperforming today. Right, let's see. Okay. Makwakwina, our striker, no surprise, is playing terribly today. So I'm going to put Shangasi in for him. Try to wake things up a bit. I can't have someone out putting on a 6.4 performance in a match we're trying to win. But yeah, everyone just looks slow today. A lot of pretty weak strikes. Shangasi's decent though, and he's fresh, and he's hungry, and that might count for a lot. I'm hoping it does. I don't want to draw this match. I desperately don't want to lose it. Margeman got himself actually. He's only bruised his ankle, but it took a huge chunk out of his fitness. He's actually struggling a lot out there right now. He was down to 47% fitness, and now he's just done. So I'm going to have to put in Melula for him. That's a change I really didn't want to make this game. Melula's pretty bad, but it's what I got. Really sucks because now I can't make a tactical change to actually try to win the match. I just had to put Melula in for Margeman. Margeman's definitely one of the players I wanted to keep on the pitch. He was playing at a 6.8, which isn't fantastic, but given the way the team's playing today, it was one of our best performances out there. We're just slower than them, though. Like you can see, everyone's tired. No one's got their heart in it. This is the sort of match that's extremely frustrating as both a coach and a fan. I feel bad for anyone that bought tickets expecting to see like some really high energy, exciting match today, or more likely expecting to see a shooting gallery from us, because this is what they're getting. Okay, we can at least make a final tactical change. Everyone's finally playing well. So I think it's going to be Adam that I'm going to pull off for Foster. Tried to tighten things up at the back a bit. I mean, Foster's a much worse fullback, but once again, fresh legs. A lot of what I'm trying to overcome in this game is just the fatigue from the trip up the Mallee. At this point, a win is out of reach, but we can hopefully steal a tie at the end, so at least we're not losing ground to everyone. We're in a good position. I mean, we're qualified for Africa next year because we won the tournament. And the board only expects us to get top half of the table. I don't think it's actually possible for us to not get that now, but I want to get wins. And this game is not going to be one. So that was a pretty devastating loss, but not unexpected given what we had just gone through. Sinaga made his 125th appearance. Senamela made his 25th appearance for us. And everyone else plays for Tuks, so I don't really care about that. Hopefully to get their heads together for the next match. But it's going to be tough because this is the sort of thing that just compounds. We had a bad game playing a weak team. Everyone's ejected. This is good, at least. Margeman, despite having to leave that match, isn't actually that badly hurt. He may miss, or he may be injured still in the next match if we're really unlucky with how long that injury lasts. But it could have been a lot worse. We continue to be lucky with injuries despite the hit that losing Nidlova was. So next session we have Golden Arrows and Palaquine. They both should be winnable matches, but as that match against Tuks proves, never say never. With luck, we're going to have Traore back. So I might be able to sub in a different striker if we continue to have problems up front. But we'll see how things shake out. For now, thank you for watching, everyone. Have a great day.